The second I peeled that neon yellow notice off my front door, I knew my life was about to explode. Surrender a key to your lakefront gate by Friday, or cough up $500. It screamed, stamped with the signature of Linda Harper, Lakeview Heights HOA dictator and my personal nightmare. My gate. My sanctuary. The one I'd poured my soul into building after some punk kids turned my dock into a graffiti gallery. I stood there, fists clenched, the paper crumpling in my grip, and thought, over my dead body, Linda. That notice wasn't just a threat. It was a declaration of war, and I was ready to fight dirty. Before I continue the story, write a comment below. Where are you watching from? Like if you want to constantly win in any conflicts. I'm Mike Bennett, 38, a graphic designer with a caffeine addiction and a stubborn streak a mile wide. 3 years ago, my wife, Sarah, and I snagged this rundown gem on Willow Drive, a creaky house with a killer lake view and a dock we swore we'd fix up. The gate? That was my baby. After forking over $4,200 to keep the chaos out, I finally had peace, until Linda decided she owned me. Friday was 2 days away, and I wasn't about to hand her my key like some whipped puppy. So, I stormed the HOA office, a sweaty box by the pool that reeked of chlorine and broken dreams. Linda sat there, her blonde bob a helmet of hairspray, her pastel blazer screaming, "I'm better than you." "Mike," she drawled, smirking at her clipboard, "it's for safety. Emergencies happen." I slammed my hands on her desk, leaning in close. "Safety? Or control, Linda? That's my gate, my rules." Her eyes flicked up, cold and sharp. "Covenants, Mike. You signed them." I wanted to flip that desk right then, but I grinned instead. Game on. That night, I turned into a man obsessed. Sarah caught me at 2 a.m., hunched over my laptop, chugging cold coffee like a lunatic. "You're really doing this?" she teased, tossing me a cookie, her secret weapon to calm me down. "Damn right I am." I shot back, crumbs flying. "She's not winning." The covenants were a maze, but I found gold. No rule about handing over keys to private land. My gate was mine. I called Jake, my real estate bro, at dawn. "Mike, this stinks like last week's trash," he barked. "HOAs pull power trips like this, dig into their cash flow. Bet you'll find skeletons." Cash flow. My brain lit up like Vegas. I fired off a records request before the sun was fully up. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed. Emily Carter, the quiet mom 2 doors down. "Linda's after my gate key too," her text read. "She's creeping around my yard. Inspections," she says. I nearly dropped my coffee. "She's what?" I typed back. "Meet me now." An hour later, Emily was in my kitchen, her kid Ethan giggling with our dog, Max, while she spilled tea, literal and figurative. I overheard her. She whispered, eyes darting. Something about lake deals, shady stuff. Lake deals? My pulse hammered. Our little slice of Lake Willow was prime turf. Deep water, shady trees, pure gold. Was Linda plotting a land grab? The records hit my mailbox the next day, a brick of papers I tore into like Christmas morning. Sarah hovered, pointing at a line. "Willow Landscaping, $12,000." I blinked. Who the hell's that? We all knew Tom, the lawn guy, $200 a job, tops. I Googled it. Zip, nada, a ghost company. Then I saw it. Harper Consulting, $8,500. Harper. Linda Harper. My jaw hit the floor. "Sarah." I hissed. "She's robbing us blind." Sarah's eyes widened, but she grinned. "You're gonna take her down, aren't you?" I nodded, adrenaline surging. This wasn't just my fight anymore. It was personal, and I was all in. I couldn't sleep that night. The numbers, $12,000 to a fake landscaping gig, $8,500 to Linda's own consulting scam, danced in my head like a neon sign screaming fraud. My dining table was a war zone of papers, highlighters, and empty coffee mugs, and Sarah was pacing, her slippers slapping the hardwood. "Mike, this is nuts," she said, voice tight. "If she's stealing, what's stopping her from coming after us harder?" I looked up, eyes burning. Nothing. That's why we hit first. By morning, I had a plan: confront Linda with the proof and watch her squirm. But first, I needed backup. I texted Emily at sunrise. "Found dirt, big dirt. Meet me at the diner on Oak Street, 9 a.m. She replied with a thumbs up, and I was out the door, the chilly March air slapping me awake. The diner was a greasy spoon straight out of a movie, red vinyl booths, coffee that tasted like tar, and a jukebox humming Johnny Cash. Emily slid in across from me, her hoodie pulled tight, Ethan's crayons spilling from her bag. "Spill it," she said, leaning in. I slid the highlighted pages across the table. Willow Landscaping's a ghost. Harper Consulting's her. She's pocketing our dues. Her jaw dropped, then hardened. That witch. She fined me $200 last month for my trash cans, said they were unsightly. I grinned. Feral. She's done. We're taking this to the board. Emily hesitated, chewing her lip. Mike, she's got cronies, Tom the treasurer, Karen from compliance. They're tight. I leaned closer, voice low. Then we get louder. More of us. Her eyes flickered with something fear, maybe hope. Okay. I'm in. We clinked coffee mugs like it was a pact sealed in blood. Step 1. Rally the troops. Back home, I turned our living room into mission control. Sarah hauled out her old college printer, churning out flyers. HOA scam alert. Meet tonight, 7 p.m., my garage. I hit the streets, shoving them under doors and into mailboxes, my heart pounding like a drum. Neighbors I'd barely nodded to: Old Man Pete with the yappy terrier, Jenna the yoga mom, Carlos who grilled the best ribs, stared at me like I'd lost it. Linda's stealing, I'd hiss, shoving a flyer their way. Come see. By dusk, I was sweaty, hoarse, and buzzing with adrenaline. 7 rolled around, and my garage was a circus. 30 people crammed in, some perched on lawn chairs, others leaning against my workbench, all muttering. Emily stood by me, clutching her coffee like a lifeline, while Sarah handed out cookies like a wartime nurse. I climbed onto a milk crate, papers in hand. Listen up, I shouted, voice cracking. Linda Harper's been bleeding us dry, fake companies, secret payouts. Look. I waved the records, and the room erupted. Gasps, curses, Pete yelling, she fined me for my flagpole. Jenna chimed in, my patio lights, $1.50. Carlos growled, she's why my dues jumped $50. The energy was electric, chaotic, alive. Then the door banged open, and there she was, Linda, blazer pristine, face a mask of fury. What's this? She snapped, heels clicking as she stormed in. I jumped down, meeting her glare. The truth, Linda. Explain Willow Landscaping. Explain Harper Consulting. Her smirk faltered, just a split second, but I saw it. You're delusional, she spat. This is slander. The crowd roared, closing in, and she backed up, I starting. Board meetings Wednesday, she hissed. Bring your proof, if you dare. She spun and bolted, leaving silence in her wake. I turned to the mob, chest heaving. Wednesday. We end this. They cheered a raw, ragged, real. Sarah squeezed my arm, whispering, you're insane, and I love it. Emily nodded, fierce. She's scared, Mike. We've got her. But as the crowd trickled out, I caught a shadow across the street. Tom, the treasurer, watching from his truck. My gut twisted. This wasn't over. It was just heating up. The next day, I dove back into the records, hunting for more ammo. Sarah called from the kitchen. Mike, you've got mail. I jogged in, ripping open an envelope, and froze. A handwritten note, block letters, back OFF, or regretted. No signature, but the message hit like a punch. Sarah peeked over, paling. Mike, I crumpled it, jaw tight. They're rattled. Good. But inside, my nerves were screaming Linda wasn't just a thief, she was dangerous. I called Jake. Bro, I'm in deep, I said, voice shaky. Threats now. He whistled. Get a lawyer, man. Yesterday. By Tuesday, I'd roped in Matt Dawson, a pitbull attorney from downtown who lived for David and Goliath fights. He poured over the docs in my living room, chuckling. Oh, they're screwed. This is embezzlement, felony territory. He slapped the table. Ward meetings are shot, nail, and there. I felt a rush, fear, yes, but mostly fire. Linda thought she'd intimidate me? She'd picked the wrong guy. Wednesday loomed, and the neighborhood buzzed like a hive. Whispers flew. Pete saw Linda huddling with Tom. Jenna spotted Karen shredding papers at the office. Me? I was ready to unleash hell. Wednesday morning hit like a freight train. I woke up to Max barking at the window, my heart jackhammering before my eyes even focused. Across the street, Tom's truck peeled out, tires squealing too early for anything legit. I stumbled to the kitchen, where Sarah was already brewing coffee, her face tight. Tonight's the board meeting, she said, sliding me a mug. You ready? I grinned, but it felt more like a grimace. Ready to bury Linda? Hell yes. Inside, though, I was a live wire, Matt's felony territory echoing in my skull, that crumpled threat note burning a hole in my desk drawer. The day was a blur of prep. Matt camped out in my living room, legal pads everywhere, barking orders like a general. Bring the receipts, every shady payout. Names, dates, amounts, he said, jabbing a pen at me. I nodded, piling up evidence, Willow Landscaping, Harper Consulting, a $5,000 maintenance fee to some LLC that didn't exist. Emily swung by, Ethan in tow, dropping off a bombshell, a blurry photo of Linda and Tom unloading boxes at the HOA office late last night. Caught him from my window, she said, smirking. Sketchy, right? I zoomed in. Cardboard, shadows, secrets. Gold, I muttered. Pure gold. By 6 p.m., the neighborhood was a pressure cooker. Cars lined Willow Drive, headlights cutting through the dusk. Pete, Jenna, Carlos, a dozen others, all marching to the HOA office like an army. I led the charge, Matt at my side in a crisp suit, Sarah and Emily flanking me like lieutenants. The office was packed, standing room only, air thick with sweat and rage. Linda sat at the head table, Tom and Karen on either side, her face a mask of fake calm. Order, she snapped, banging a gavel as we piled in. This is a private meeting. I stepped forward, voice booming. Not tonight, Linda. This is public. Your mess, our fight. The room roared. Cheers, shouts, Pete yelling, thief. Linda's eyes narrowed, but I didn't flinch. I slammed the stack of records on the table. Explain this. $12,000 to a fake landscaping gig. $8,500 to your own consulting scam. Where's our money? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tom shifted, sweating, while Karen clutched her purse like a shield. Linda leaned forward, voice icy. You've got nothing, Mike. Fabrications. I held up Emily's photo, boxes in the dark. Then what's this? Hiding evidence. The room exploded again, and Matt jumped in, smooth as silk. Embezzlement, folks. Felonies. We've got a case. Cops'll love it. Linda's mask cracked. Her lips twitched. Her hands shook. This is absurd, she barked, but the crowd was done. Jenna yelled, You jacked my dues for this. Carlos waved a fist. Resign. Linda banged her gavel, desperate. Meeting adjourned, but no one moved. I locked eyes with her, feeling the tide turn. You're toast, Linda. Step down, or we drag you down. She bolted up, chair scraping, and stormed out, Tom and Karen scrambling after her like rats off a sinking ship. The room buzzed, victorious but restless. Matt clapped my shoulder. Solid start, but they'll fight dirty. Watch your back. I nodded, adrenaline still pumping, when Sarah tugged my sleeve. Mike, outside. I followed her to the window. Linda's car screeched off, but Tom's truck lingered, idling in the lot. Then I saw it. A glint of metal as he tossed something into the dumpster. My gut screamed. Stay here, I told Sarah, sprinting out. The dumpster stank of chlorine and rot, but I climbed in anyway, digging through trash bags until my hands hit a box, taped shut, heavy. I ripped it open, heart pounding. Inside, shredded papers, receipts, a ledger, jackpot. I hauled it back to Matt, grinning like a madman. There's shredding evidence. He flipped through it, eyes wide. Dates, signatures, Linda's handwriting. This ties her to everything. Sarah hugged me, fierce. You're a lunatic, and it's working. But the high crashed fast. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Drop it or your dock burns. I froze, showing Sarah. Her face paled, but her jaw set. Call the cops, Mike. Now. I dialed 911, voice steady despite the shake in my hands. Yeah, I've got a threat, written, and now this. Lakeview Heights, Willow Drive. The dispatcher promised a patrol, but as I hung up, headlights flared, Tom's truck, creeping past my house. Emily texted, He's circling my place too. Matt overheard, grim. They're panicking, means we're close. Tomorrow, we file with the DA. I nodded, but my mind raced. Linda wasn't just cornered, she was feral. That night, I barely slept, Max growling at every creak. Dawn broke with a patrol car rolling by, but no Tom, no Linda. Just silence, too quiet. Then Pete banged on my door, breathless. Mike, the pier, someone trashed it. Spray paint, smashed boards. Looks personal. I ran out, Sarah behind me. The public pier, HOA turf, was a wreck, red paint spelling back OFF across the planks. My stomach dropped. This was war, and Linda was swinging wild. The red paint dripping down the pier felt like a gut punch. Back OFF glared at me in jagged letters, the smashed boards crunching under my boots as I stood there, fists clenched. Sarah grabbed my arm, her voice sharp. "Mike, this is insane. They're unhinged." I nodded, jaw tight, staring at the mess. The HOA's precious public pier, trashed overnight, wasn't random. It was a message, and I was the target. But I wasn't backing off. Not now, not ever. I whipped out my phone, snapping pics of the carnage, every splinter, every smear. "Evidence," I muttered, texting them to Matt. He called back in seconds, voice crackling. "Mike, this is retaliation, vandalism tied to your pushback. DA's gonna eat this up." I grinned despite the rage boiling in my chest. "Good. Let's bury them." Sarah shot me a look, half proud, half terrified. "Cops first," she said. "Then bury." She was right. I dialed 911 again, reporting the damage, my pulse hammering as I watched a patrol car roll up 10 minutes later. Officer Daniels, a stocky guy with a no-nonsense squint, scribbled notes while I laid it all out. The threats, the meeting, the dumpster jackpot. "Sounds like a hornet's nest," he grunted, eyeing the paint. "We'll dust for prints, but don't touch anything." I nodded, itching to do more, when Emily jogged over, Ethan trailing her. "Mike, my car, someone keyed it last night. Quit, scratched right in." Her voice shook, but her eyes blazed. I cursed under my breath. Linda's crew wasn't just after me, they were hitting us all. By noon, the neighborhood was a war zone of whispers. Pete swore he saw Tom's truck near the pier at midnight. Jenna found a cryptic note in her mailbox, "Stop or else," and Carlos caught Karen lurking by his fence. I rallied them at my place, the living room packed again, air thick with coffee and fury. Matt strode in, tie loose, grinning like a shark. "DA's on board," he announced, slapping a folder down. "Embezzlement, fraud, now vandalism, Linda's crew's cooked. We file today." The room erupted. Cheers, fist pumping, Jenna yelling, "About time." I felt it too, a wildfire in my veins. We were close. But Linda wasn't done swinging. Mid-meeting, my phone buzzed, a grainy video from an unknown number. I hit play, and my stomach flipped. Footage of my dock, shot from the lake, Max barking in the distance. A voice, distorted, low, growled, "Last warning." Sarah saw my face and snatched the phone, her hands trembling. "Mike, this is stalking harassment." Matt leaned over, grim. "Forward it to me." "Cops too. They're digging their own grave." I did, but the image burned in my brain. Someone out there, watching us, waiting. The cops came fast this time, 2 cars, lights flashing. Daniels took the video, the threats, the ledger, promising action. "We're looping in detectives," he said, radio crackling. "Sit tight." Sit tight? I wanted to scream, to hunt Linda down myself, but Sarah pulled me aside. "You've got them running scared," she whispered, fierce. "Don't let them win now." Her words steadied me, barely. I nodded, kissing her forehead. "They won't." That afternoon, Matt filed the case, pages of proof hitting the DA's desk like a thunderclap. By dusk, word spread. Arrest warrants were out for Linda, Tom, and Karen. I should have felt victorious, but the silence was eerie. No truck circling, no notes, just a heavy, waiting quiet. Then Emily texted, "Cops at Linda's, lights, sirens, everything." I ran outside, Sarah and Max with me, joining a crowd down the street. Linda's pristine colonial was swarmed, cops hauling boxes, her blazer-clad figure cuffed and shoved into a cruiser. Tom's truck was next, him stumbling out, hands behind his back. Karen followed, shrieking, "I'm innocent." The neighborhood cheered, raw, ragged, triumphant. Pete clapped my back, grinning. "You did it, kid." Jenna hugged Emily. Carlos cracked a beer. I stood there, Sarah's arm around me, watching Linda's empire crumble. But her glare through the cruiser window, pure venom, sent a chill down my spine. "This isn't over," it said. I shook it off, turning to the crowd. "Drinks at my place." I yelled, and the roar swallowed my unease. That night, my house was chaos, laughter, music, Max weaving through legs. Matt toasted me with a whiskey. DA's pushing felony charges, years behind bars. "You're a legend, Mike." I smirked, clinking glasses, but my eyes kept drifting to the window. The lake glittered under the moon, calm and dark. Too calm. Then my phone pinged, a news alert. Lakeview Heights HOA board arrested, corruption scandal rocks community. I showed Sarah, grinning. "Front page, babe." She laughed, but it faded fast. "Mike, What's that? I followed her gaze, headlights, slow and deliberate, creeping past our house. My heart stopped. Tom's truck was impounded. Linda was locked up. So who the hell was that? Those headlights crawling past my house flipped a switch in me. Victory soured into dread. Fast. I dropped my whiskey glass on the counter, the crash cutting through the party noise. Sarah, stay here, I barked, bolting for the door, Max barking at my heels. The crowd parted, Matt, Emily, Pete, all staring as I hit the porch. The car was gone, swallowed by the dark, but my gut screamed. This wasn't over. Linda might be cuffed, Tom and Karen too, but someone was still out there, pulling strings. I spun back inside, grabbing Matt. Headlights slow, deliberate. They're not done. He frowned, wiping whiskey off his tie. Could be a lackey, someone they paid off. Cops need to know. I nodded, dialing Daniels as the party buzz faded to whispers. Officer, just saw a car casing my place. Right after the arrests, I said, voice tight. Check Linda's crew, someone's loose. Daniels grunted. On it. Patrol's doubling tonight. I hung up, but my nerves were raw. Sarah grabbed my hand, fierce. Mike, we've won. Don't let them spook you. I forced a grin. Spooked? Nah. Pissed? Oh yeah. The next morning, the neighborhood was a circus, news vans, gawkers, cops everywhere. I stepped outside, coffee in hand, and saw Daniels waving me over. Got a lead, he said, leaning against his cruiser. Linda's phone records, calls to a burner last week. Tracked it to a guy named Rick Mason, ex-con, lives across the lake. My jaw tightened. Muscle for hire? Daniels nodded. Looks like. Caught him at a gas station an hour ago, had paint cans in his trunk. Red, fresh. Confessed to the peer, your threats. Linda's orders. I exhaled, hard. She's locked up. Why's he still prowling? Daniels smirked. Payday's a hell of a motivator. Relief hit, but it was laced with fire. Rick was the last domino, and he'd fallen. Matt called minutes later, voice triumphant. DA's adding conspiracy, Linda's toast, 5 years minimum. Tom and Karen too. Case closed. I punched the air, grinning as Sarah tackled me with a hug. You lunatic. You did it. She laughed, Max jumping around us. The weight lifted, almost. I needed one last move. That afternoon, I rallied the crew, Emily, Pete, Jenna, Carlos, a dozen more, at the trash pier. Paint cans and brushes in hand, we scrubbed back off into history, repainting the boards a bright blue. Kids ran around, Ethan splashing in the shallows, while Carlos fired up his grill. It wasn't just a cleanup, it was a reclaiming. Linda's shadow was gone, and Lakeview Heights was ours again. I climbed onto a bench, beer raised. To us. I shouted. We took him down together. The cheer was deafening, echoing across the lake. By dusk, the pier gleamed, smoke curling from Carlos's ribs, music blasting. Emily sidled up, smirking. HOA's holding an emergency vote tomorrow, new board. I nominated you. I choked on my beer. Me? I'd rather wrestle alligators. She laughed. Too late. Pete seconded it. Sarah grinned, elbowing me. President Bennett? I'd vote for that. I groaned, but the idea stuck. Maybe I could fix this mess for good. The next day, the vote went down at the community center, packed, tense, electric. I stood up, palms sweaty, and pitched hard. Transparency, no fines for dumb stuff, lake access for all. The cheers drowned out the nays, and when the tally hit 42-9, I was in. President Mike Bennett. I shook my head, grinning like an idiot as Sarah whispered, told you. Linda's old cronies glared from the back, but they were powerless now, relics of a broken reign. Weeks later, life settled, new bylaws passed, dues dropped, the lake sparkled with kids fishing off the pier. I sat on my dock one night, Sarah beside me, Max snoring at our feet. The gate gleamed under the moon, mine again, no key surrendered. My phone buzzed, a comment on the local news site. Bennett's a hero, HOA's finally fair. I showed Sarah, and she laughed. They're right, you know. I shrugged, but my chest swelled. We'd fought, bled, won. Write in the comments. Have you ever defeated an HOA tyrant? I'm eager to hear your victories. Subscribe to the channel to be the first to hear incredible stories of defeating the HOA.